Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Priska Agnolo, and I'm here sitting next to the very gorgeous, intelligent, and talented managing partner of PathwayHub Zimbabwe, Miss Helen Zulu-Kawadza. How are you doing today, Miss Helen?
Hey, how's this? That's quite an introduction. Beautiful, talented.
Am I lying? It's very obvious, no? But you'll soon get to see why. Miss Helen, tell me, what exactly do you do?
So I run an organization called PathwayHub out in Zimbabwe. We're one of the largest recruiting firms for students study abroad placements as well. And that's what we do. We try and find channels for Zimbabwean students and those around Africa into various nations for opportunities, not just study abroad, but just what next, what's after study abroad. So that's why we call ourselves a pathway, because it's a pathway. It's how you get there. You might want to go here, but this is how you need to go, but eventually you'll be on your right pathway. So that's a little bit of what we do. I also am the managing director for the 1880 program, which is a program which works with St. Louis University on ensuring students can get university credits while they're in their home country, which proves to be a hell of a lot more affordable.
Actually,
bringing it to the people.
I completely agree with that. Thank you so much for telling us what you do.
Yeah.
But now the next question I need to ask, we are sitting here in Dubai after all.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the United Arab Emirates?
Now, that would seemingly seem like a very simple process. What am I doing there? But I'm here to look for opportunities, really for the Zimbabwean students and African students. What does the UAE give us? What does the UAE have for Zimbabwean students? How can they explore that and how can they get into it? You know, the UAE is a dynamic system. I mean, it is, oh my gosh, growing. Gives so many opportunities to expats as well. So this is something that I am definitely here trying to sort of see how we can get engaged in it, and at the same time win on both sides. Win as Zimbabweans, win as the UAE. You know.
I love that. You mentioned both societies, the Zimbabwean Society and the UAE Society. Tell me, how exactly are you contributing to both of these societies?
So one of the biggest things is people in my country, when I speak of Zimbabwe, we do not have a lot of universities. Okay, we are growing that. I just need to say that just in case we are growing that. But the biggest thing with growth is facilities. So you can grow, but you might not necessarily have facilities. You might not necessarily have all the degree programs. And this is what I am looking at: cybersecurity, forensics, data analytics. You know, we don't have that vast capacity. Yet you will find some of our partners like Brits, Nest Academy have those degrees and are able to open those roads for Zimbabwean students. So we coming here to reach out to degrees that we don't necessarily have or do not have the facilities to actually achieve a lot of what we're wanting to do. So by bringing students here, we're beginning to open the skill set. Does that make sense in Zimbabwe? And then we're also saying that there's an opportunity for you to settle or at least to work in the UAE. Now imagine from an international point of view, having international experience. Actually working with real service, not just one or two things. Actually going out to learn public health and really understand what public health looks like. You know, coming out to learn sports management in a real environment where sports works, where sports is a business, where people make money. That is what we would be able to give back, and hopefully our Zimbabwean students can come back and look at opportunities and take us to the next level. That's what I'm about, the opportunities, taking us to the next level, not just a degree. But what else can we do with it?
I love that, because your company is essentially called PathwayHub, and every path has a destination. So this obviously makes sense. So tell me, have you actually recruited anyone in the UAE, and how does this process look like, and how have the people that you recruited responded so far?
So we've been in the UAE now about 18 months. We have other destinations that we work in: America, Europe, Canada, India, Malaysia. Does that make sense? So we have a robust, but what makes the UAE and why we're recruiting, like I said, the dynamicism. We have brought students here and they've loved it. They've moved in from a Zimbabwe scenario and just come and say, Miss Helen, I can't believe everything that's out here.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
yes, we have. I think the response has been positive.
Yeah.
Definitely has been positive. Some key things, safety.
Mm.
Kids reporting that, they had a lot of fears when they came, and those have been set at bay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our partners have got great programs. I mean, I've heard people talk to us about that the programs are not only academic, but they're course-based. They give them an opportunity to really interface with the degree program and with the job spec.
Nice.
Now,
Yes.
that's what makes a difference to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in terms of the response, fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been here now a week, gone around a couple of our universities, been chatting and doing a couple of interviews with my students just to find out, are they happy? Definitely. This is the place to be.
I love that. Earlier on, you were speaking about the safety, you've gotten really positive feedback. Tell me, what are some of the most misguided concepts that most people have of the UAE that have been proven to be quite untrue?
Well, the first one, and I'm going to need your help to run them down, because I don't know whether I can say them properly.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things I want to say to people is that the UAE actually consists of 7 countries, or states, should we say, that exist here in the UAE. And these states don't necessarily include Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, because the Gulf states are another set of, it's another world out there. And there's this misconception that when we talk of the UAE, it all is one, and it really isn't one. So that has been a learning for me. That really has been a learning that there's a little city called Sharjah, and I took a drive down there, and that is not in my usual spec. So definitely that has been something that I think has been a misnomer and a myth busting, if I can put that. I think another one is safety. People looking at it and saying, will my child be safe? What are the connotations? Will they be, I don't, sometimes I don't even understand what we're actually afraid of. I can't tangibly put it, but we are afraid. And the safety has been amazing. I mean, just even myself walking around, seeing different things, and just also understanding that this is the second safest country in the world.
In the world, yes.
And that's following Iceland. I don't really know what happened in Iceland. I don't think they have a lot happening.
That's what I say.
That's what I say. But really and truly, to live in a country where it's the second safest city in the world is amazing. When I think of my African mothers who labor about the girl child, I'm going to say it in my language, for the girl child, definitely. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I walked the malls yesterday on my own. I went downtown on my own, and I got onto taxis on my own, and and every single time, the taxi driver would not leave me until he knew I was well laid out.
Wow.
Now that is a big thing. So safety is definitely a big thing. I think another thing is people come into these countries and they don't do paperwork. They think that they can just kind of like wing it.
Okay.
So if there's anything I can say to people is you need to work with partners, get your child into a school that you can afford. Lots of opportunities. Nest, Brits, Imperial have good affordable packages. Do it the legal way. If there's anything I can tell them, do it the legal way. Go with the people who know what they're doing. Yeah.
I love that you emphasize so much on safety because I'm African as well. I'm from Namibia, and it seems as though people really do have these type of misguided misconceptions about the United Arab Emirates. And I love how you differentiated that this is not the Gulf area, the UAE. It's not all one place. The United Arab Emirates is a separate country.
You gotta tell them, not the same place. Very different.
Very different country and very different things happen there. And I love that you emphasize so much on the safety of the girl child. I think we are, as Africans, let me say, we are more afraid of things that are more prevalent and common in our own continent than what actually happens here, which is kind of ironic, no?
Yeah,
I should say so myself.
True. Yeah, and I think the other thing is opportunities. I think we spoke a little bit about opportunities. People seem to think that they know opportunities, but they're like real opportunities. I have one of our students who is actually at Brits Imperial.
Yeah.
And he is actually working in a educational museum.
Wow.
And he has been chatting to me about just the wealth of knowledge that he has got and how he wants to bring this back home. He wants to come back and develop that. Now, that's for me is a game to parents to say, you have no idea just how much your child will grow.
Yeah.
And this is a misnomer because we kind of like think here you're just getting an education. Can I say it now? UAE does not give you just an education. It kind of like expands this child's worldview. I'm sitting talking to a 22-year-old who's already asking me, where can he go and get money to put this together? Now that's a big thing, and that's why I love what I do.
And you just mentioned in the very beginning of the interview that Zimbabwe needs more startups. This is just one student. Imagine all of the other students that you're happening are soon going to come to the same conclusion. And just imagine at how fast a rate that Zimbabwe will be transformed and developed.
And this is what we need in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has got a 95% what they call unemployment. I don't necessarily agree. I think 95% of us are self-employed, making a plan. But now we have to be innovative. We have to be creative. We have to grow that because we have such a wonderful country, such a wonderful space that is open for business and wanting to get these young people really exploring some of these avenues.
All right. I love that. So tell me, with your initiative, what do you want to achieve and see in the near future or probably in the long run?
Oh my gosh, that's such a big loaded question. I want to achieve a lot.
Okay.
You know, being on retail, I think I can achieve something, right? And all.
You're definitely doing something already if you're here.
Yeah. So look, there's so much that I want to achieve in Zimbabwe and for our Zimbabwean students. I think one of the biggest things I want to achieve proper legal processes, students following proper legal processes. And there's a big ocean. You know, let's not take it for granted. How do you know what university you're applying to? How do you know that that university is a good university? How do you know that university is registered? You don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what makes people like myself relevant. But you also want to go to universities that have an interface.
Yeah.
You want to go to universities, I know it's going to look like I keep advertising in a way, but I mean, I am so overwhelmed with what I've seen in the last week and just the human element with my partners, that you need to be working with people who are able to do so much for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's number one. I really want to achieve a finished product, not just a degree product, but something that I can look back and say, you know what, that museum, that was my kid. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I want to look back and say, some kid went into the hospitality and came back and brought the standard that exists in Dubai into our Big Falls, into our Kariba. That's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting to also achieve, especially for the UAE, trust. Just to develop that trust, and not only beyond a tourist destination, but a place that your child can come and exist in and make a difference and contribute back into the system. We all know in Zimbabwe we need that. We need forex, and this is an opportunity for our children to do that. I think finally it's just to be able to make a real difference and not just a verbalized difference, you know, just like, you know, we are the largest, you know, those mission statements that stand on the wall that don't really mean anything. I mean, coming here is evidence of how much I support my students, how much I believe in the system, and how much I want to walk the talk. I think so many people don't necessarily walk the talk, and it's really about walking the talk and being available not only to your partners, to your students, to your parents, to future employers, everything, and bringing that together.
You know, listening to you speak, it seems as though you have a more human feel. You keep referring to these students not only as, you know, like a mass message to the audience, but as though they are your own children. It's almost as though you're speaking from a motherly point of view. Do you actually have some type of personal connection to this besides from a business, marketing, advertising point of view? You know,
I really struggle when people do this business and it's more about human capital than it is about being a person, truthfully. It's not only the UAE, I travel everywhere. I place students into America in the fall and I'm there in November to see my kids and to see how well they're doing. This is like standard, and I tell them, if you mess up, we got 3 months because I'm going to be there. Does that make sense? But I think, especially for the UAE, one of the biggest things is I believe in what I do, and I put my best foot forward. My son is here.
Wow.
And that's how much I believe in my partner. And that's how much I believe in the UAE. this was the right destination for my first son.
Wow.
So as a mom, I also know how it feels to like let go.
Yes.
He's been here like 5 months and I'm here already. I don't know whether that's a good thing or says anything about me as a mom.
It's a great thing.
So I get you, I just know how it is. But I'll tell you, just having come and spent this week with him, and it was his 21st. So it was kind of like, very kind of like surreal.
Yeah.
He's grown up.
In just 5 months.
He's grown up. He's having conversation with me of all the things that he wants to do. And I just, so again, to answer your question, I'm a mom first, then I'm a business person, then I'm everything else after that. So you gotta have that order. Because if you don't, then you don't care.
Yes.
If you don't care, you're mass producing. If you mass produce, you never make a footprint. It's about making a footprint, and that's what I want.
Ladies and gentlemen, the managing partner of PathwayHub, you heard it yourself. Listen, everything this woman is saying gives me vibes, gives me chills. I almost want to quit this job and go into her company instead.
We don't have space. We don't have space. We don't have space.
Oh,
now that you want to be.
Now that you have space. I'll do it part-time, no worries. I'll do it part-time. Tell me, we've spoken enough about business. You come from a very beautiful country.
Oh, yes.
Such as yourself, the great nation of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Tell me some fun facts that people out there don't know about Zimbabwe.
Well, I think the biggest fun fact is that, we're a multi-currency country. You can use any form of currency in Zimbabwe. So if you're coming with your pounds, your AEDs, your yens, your USD, you can come to Zimbabwe. So it's so easy to transition into the system. And you don't have to worry about it. Safety is also a big thing for our country. Okay. So we resonate very much with the safety which we see here in the UAE. But I think one of the biggest things which I can't leave here without saying is that we have the biggest waterfall in the world. It makes up one of the 7 wonders of the world, and that's the mighty Victoria Falls. Supposedly found by David Livingstone. So I just want to say, the Zimbabweans knew about it and it's
Before he arrived.
We already knew it was there. He just made it famous. So the Victoria Falls, we also have one of the largest man-made islands, and that was made as a conservation effort in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, it's a beautiful place and a lot of wildlife that you can still see, from leopard to elephants to buffalo to rhinos to everything. I mean, it's a fantastic place to go on holiday. Another place is the Great Zimbabwe, one of Africa's oldest kingdoms. Still exists in Zimbabwe.
It does. It's still standing.
It's still standing. Man-made, these stones cut to form, no cement, no nothing, towers growing, and that actually is our monarch at Zimbabwe. Is the Great Zimbabwe. It's really our monarch. So lots of cultural heritage when you come, lots of wonderful tourism places, and lots of lovely people like myself.
I completely agree. It's almost as though PathwayHub Zimbabwe was meant to be. It's still from one kingdom to another. So it really seems super aligned. Miss Helen, this was an absolute pleasure to have you in studio with us today. I want to ask, do you have any last remarks for you to say to everyone else watching out there?
Well, definitely. I think I want to say thank you to Rita for having us. I mean, it's one thing to make it on TV. I'm famous. I'm going to tell my 5 boys I'm famous. I got a little bit of fame. But my partners as well. All of this is made possible with partners. You can't be anything without having people who want to, as we say back home. We are one. Namaste. Right. So again, thank you for having me. Thank you to my partners, Brits, Nest, who have made this really a success for me.
You are absolutely welcome. Thank you so much once again for coming here. It is always a pleasure. We tell TV's doors will forever be open to you, and I wish you nothing but success in all of your endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We've had Miss Helen in studio with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is me, Priska Anelo, signing off.